Good morning, my friends. It is so early in the morning. The sun isn't even fully up yet, but I've actually been up for a couple of hours because we have a lot ahead of us. I actually went to my local florist earlier to pick up my Christmas tree, believe it or not. And I thought it might be fun for us to decorate it together. Then I have my last therapy appointment after 2 years, which it's crazy that 2 years went by so fast. Now, I've been getting a lot of questions about, how I have changed so much. And I do think that obviously moving and working out and transforming myself physically have definitely contributed to the way I am. But I think the catalyst for all this change was going to therapy. So I did want to have a little bit of a heart to heart about that. But I thought it might be nicer for us to do that while we decorate the Christmas tree. So we're going to do that in a bit. Then I'm going to head to my last therapy appointment. And then, funny enough, right in between my apartment and my therapist is the main shopping street in Amsterdam. So I thought since I'm going to pass by there, we might as well go for a little bit of a window shopping slash browsing session. Now, it is actually going to be more of a shopping vlog because there are two things I would like to pick up from Hermes. One of the pieces was actually a runway order that never got delivered, so it ended up getting transferred from another store. I know that there was one available in my size in the world, so they were willing to send it. So I think that should already be there. And then the other piece, I'm either going to pick up directly from the store or we will order it together online while I'm there. So I'm really excited for that. I do hope that the piece I ordered fits because it is my usual size, but Hermes' sizing has kind of been all over the place. So we'll see how that goes. And then I would also love to stop by Loro Piana. I've been meaning to stop by Loro Piana for I feel like a few months at this point. I just haven't had the time to do so, but hopefully we'll get the chance to do that today. I do want to pass by Chanel because there is a pair of pants that are kind of risque to say the least. It can go one or two ways. They will either look incredibly chic and really fun and unique, or they will be kind of awkward. Let's see how it goes. So I do want to try on those pants. There is a watch from Chanel that I would like to try on, not with the intentions. Well, I do have the intentions of buying it, but I wouldn't want to buy it directly from the store just because I know that Chanel watches and fine jewelry don't hold their value. I feel like we have been talking about that for weeks at this point. I feel like it is a reoccurring theme. Designer fine jewelry and designer watches not holding their value. So if you would like to hear more about that and why I think that's the case, I will make sure to have a video linked up here for you. Long story short, there is a watch that I would be interested in exploring from Chanel, but I would only consider it if I found it at a decent price on the pre-loved market, which you should be able to do. So I'm going to have a look at that watch, hopefully. And they have just opened a new Van Cleef boutique in Amsterdam. I'm not sure if we'll have the time to stop by today, but I do want to. Not because there is really anything specific that I'm looking for at Van Cleef, but why not? Looking at some beautiful jewelry never hurt anybody. So we do have a lot going on. And then, as I mentioned, we're going to be also putting my Christmas tree together, which I am so excited for. Although I can't believe that we are almost in December. I mean, I'm filming this at the end of November, and I feel like it's going to be 2025 in a heartbeat. This year went by so fast. But at the same time, I also feel like so much has happened, like so much has changed, so many things that I envisioned came true in one way or another. So maybe that's why it feels like it went by so fast. What do you guys think? Did you have a good year? Are you having a good year? Obviously, it's not the end of the year yet. So, are you having a good year? How has it been for you? I would love to have a conversation with you about that in the comment section because I feel like it's been so busy and obviously going down to uploading once a week. We have not been chatting quite as much. So please let me know how your year is going and what you're most excited for in the last month of the year. Is there anything that you would still like to achieve before the year ends? Do you still have any goals? Are you content with how 2024 has been for you? Please let me know in the comment section. I would love to. I'm genuinely interested in hearing from you. And then this year, I only bought a smaller Christmas tree. Last year, you may remember that I bought a huge real Christmas tree. Well, it was huge for me. It was my very first time buying a full-on real Christmas tree. I'm not into getting artificial trees. I know that real trees are a little bit more messy and they might not be the most sustainable, although I do try my best to recycle them responsibly. But I'm not into getting an artificial tree. I don't think there is a comparison when it comes to the ambiance that a real Christmas tree is able to create. So this year, I still wanted to get a real tree, but I only got a small one because I have a trip possibly coming up in December, the beginning of December. It's not 100% confirmed yet, but I might be traveling at the beginning of December. Then I have a week of exams, and then I'm actually leaving for Christmas. I'm going to the Canary Islands with my friend. We're going to a sports resort for 5 days to basically just train and enjoy the warm weather because the weather is definitely shifting here. It's been so rainy and cold and yeah, just really wintry. Like even waking up in the morning, it's getting tougher and tougher. Not that I'm really a morning person, although this year I have become a lot more productive in the morning, but it's getting harder and harder to wake up because it's still dark when you open your curtains. So yeah, we're going away to enjoy the warmer weather and just to train and decompress, which I am so incredibly excited for. So because of that, I only got a smaller tree since I'm not going to be around for that long in December, but I still wanted to get one for the ambiance, and that's why I'm putting it up early so I get to enjoy it a little bit longer. But yeah, we have a busy day ahead of us, so I think I'm going to go ahead, pull myself together a little bit. Then we're going to decorate the Christmas tree, and I'm going to head out to my last therapy appointment, which, yeah, it's crazy that after 2 years, that chapter is also closing. So, yeah, it's been a big couple of years with a lot changing and a lot happening, but I could not be any happier. And I'm so excited to share this with you guys too. So I'm going to go ahead, start getting ready. We're going to put the Christmas tree together, and then we are also going window shopping, and hopefully we'll come home with some nice goodies. So if that sounds interesting to you and you'd like to spend the day with me, then make sure to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe down below if you haven't done so yet, and keep on marching. Even though I was just complaining about how cold it's gotten, I was actually getting a little overheated trying to find all my ornaments and digging them out of storage, so I had to get rid of my hoodie. But as I mentioned, I did want to have a brief chat with you about all these changes and this sort of transformation that I've gone through in the past couple of years, because one of the most frequently asked questions or one of the most frequent comments that I've been getting, definitely on YouTube, but mainly on Instagram, is about me changing and how I have changed so much, or you cannot quite put your finger on what's changed about me, but you have noticed a transformation. And I have to be honest, moving from New York to Amsterdam a few years ago has definitely contributed a lot to this change in me and also my lifestyle, being single for the past couple of years, and also just working out and going to the gym becoming such an important part of my life have definitely transformed me physically. But I don't think any of these things and any of these positive changes would have been possible without therapy, because I really committed the past 2 years to going to therapy regularly. And, it has had such a lasting impact on my life that it actually encouraged me to go back to school to get a second bachelor's degree in psychology, hoping to help people make a change if it's something that they would like to do themselves. Now, as I mentioned, today is my last day of therapy, which it's just crazy to think how much has changed in the past 2 years and how different I feel about myself, about my life, and about so much. And that is not just thanks to therapy, but it was definitely a huge part of it. And, I'm not ending therapy because I am fully healed or I never feel out of balance. I think it is very normal to sometimes feel dysregulated and sometimes feel just a little bit thrown off. That doesn't make you broken or flawed. That is just part of the human experience. But I do feel that I'm ready to end therapy because I feel like I've been equipped with the tools that I need to regulate myself when things get a little bit tough. And I owe so much to therapy and to myself because, going to therapy is only 30% of the work. It's the big majority is what you do with the tools that you are given in a therapy session. So I'm incredibly grateful for it. And I know what a privilege it is that I have been able to invest all this time into therapy. Now, what I'm also really grateful for is that a portion of today's video is in paid partnership with BetterHelp. Now, I have to be honest with you guys, this has been a dream collaboration for me. I've been familiar with BetterHelp for many years at this point, and I never thought that I would one day get a chance to work with them. And it really is thanks to you guys and all your support. So I'm just very grateful in today's video, and also very grateful to BetterHelp for collaborating with me on this portion of today's video. Now, if you have never heard of BetterHelp, they are an online platform that pairs you with a credentialed therapist, making the first step of going into therapy a whole lot easier because I know how intimidating it is to show up to therapy and try to figure out what to do, how to do it, what type of therapy you have to go for, where to find a therapist. So BetterHelp just really takes the guesswork out of the equation. And you don't have to be experiencing clinical symptoms to benefit from therapy. If you are going through a tough time, if you feel stuck, if you just need someone to talk to without any sort of judgment, therapy can be a great way to find a safe space to express yourself, get guidance, and most importantly, gain some insight into who you really are. One of the biggest revelations for me in therapy was discovering some of those patterns and coping mechanisms that I developed as a kid that I just never shed and got rid of because at one point they might have served a purpose, especially when I was a young kid who was very overweight and was constantly bullied. At a certain point in time, those coping mechanisms served a purpose. But at this point in my life, I no longer have a need for them. And if anything, they are kind of counterproductive to have and to use to cope. So that was something that, I would have never realized on my own. And therapy really helped me shed some light to these patterns and to these ways of coping that I would have never realized and would have been stuck with for the rest of my life, or at least for a really, really long time. That would have kept me stuck. So that for me was just a huge thing. And again, I know what a privilege it is that I was able to commit 2 years of my life of going to therapy in person, weekly, even during times when I had a lot going on and I didn't feel like the therapy was really benefiting me, I still showed up and I still went. But I was only really able to do that because I do work for myself. I do work from home, which gives me so much freedom. And it's something that I am so incredibly grateful for. But I understand that that's not the case for everyone, which is why I am a huge advocate of BetterHelp and the online therapy that they are able to provide, because it means that you can talk to your therapist whenever you need guidance the most and whenever it's convenient for you. Not to mention that you can not only chat with your therapist, which I love. I know how intimidating it can be to show up or talk to someone in person and be completely open and vulnerable. So I love the fact that if you find that intimidating and if you feel like that has been the barrier for you to go into therapy, you can chat with your therapist. But if you would like to have a more personal connection, they also offer video calls and phone calls. So they really make it so much easier for customers to connect with their therapist, which I really appreciate. So if you feel like you would benefit from doing a little bit of therapy, if it's something that you have been toying with the idea of, but you found it overwhelming and intimidating, BetterHelp is an amazing way to start. So I will make sure to have my discount code and also a special link linked in the info box for you. Or you can also visit betterhelp.com/IamGPS and get 10% off your first month of therapy. A big thank you again to BetterHelp for working with me on a portion of today's video. And I am going to head to my last therapy session, which I think is going to be quite bittersweet. But yeah, I'll see you guys when we get to our little window shopping session. Hopefully, well, it's going to be a couple of hours for me, but for you, it's only going to be a couple of seconds. I bet you can't name another luxury brand that masters cozy elegance quite like Loro Piana does. This season, they have truly outdone themselves with the richest shades of burgundy, not just 50, but probably 100 nuance shades of gray, and of course, the softest knits, which is just what we expect from the brand. Speaking of knits, they are offering their recently reinterpreted Extra L27 bag in a blend of cashmere and wool with a really special festive thistle print. For those who may not be familiar with the house's heritage, you might find it shocking that they chose to use this flower for the festive season, but historically thistle flowers were used as a sort of tool to really gently brush the most precious fabrics as the last step in Loro Piana factories across Italy, which is why it's often used as an emblem for the brand. And this current fall winter collection pays tribute to this detail of the brand's heritage. But if prints aren't your style, you can also find the Extra Bag's smaller sister, the Extra Pocket L19, in a wintry cashmere tweed finish, as well as in full shearling, which if you know me, you know that I'm not only an admirer of the Extra Pocket as an effortless everyday bag option for those looking for a petite yet functional bag, but I'm also a sucker for anything and everything shearling and tweed. Although I must admit, no one does tweed quite like Chanel does. But while we are on the topic of the Extra Pocket, the most recent addition to the Extra lineup is the Extra Pouch, which was designed for men. And it is a slightly more streamlined, almost document holder-like shape that, yes, is technically part of the men's collection, and it is slightly reminiscent of the Kelly Depeche. I don't see why it couldn't be enjoyed universally. It starts at 1,800 euros in grained calfskin. It's also offered in ostrich in 3 different neutral shades for 4,500 euros, and the range ends at 14,000 euros in matte alligator. And while I'm currently not in the market for a mini bag, I would have not said no to this jacket had it been available in a smaller size. It's called the Spagna jacket, which they are doing in this beautiful Japanese indigo denim for the season with a leather trimmed mandarin collar. And it is the detail that caught my attention. And also the fact that the denim had a more rustic, sort of organic finish to it. I felt that it was the perfect balance of something formal, yet a piece that is more casual and laid back. And these are the kind of things that I feel I can take advantage of because I'm not someone who wears blazers regularly. So I thought it was a great piece. It was also reasonably priced at just, I think it was 2,900 euros. So it might be something that I have to add to my letter to Santa because it is still available online in an extra small. It is the season to sparkle, and Hermes knows it. Now, if you're a fan of the highly coveted Birkin Faubourg bags, which by the way they are doing in a new colorway for this season, don't forget to check out the Jolie 100 sandals, which 100 refers to the heel height, which feature a similar Faubourg window-inspired pattern, fully encrusted with sparkling rhinestones. These sandals are definitely on the pricey side. I think they come in at just over $3,300. So if you're looking for something a little more casual, but equally eye-catching, the Oasis, Oran, and Joy sandals, which share the same H cutout detail, are also available in a blinding blingy rhinestone finish in both black and beige. Now, you know that I am not the biggest fan of the Oran, but the Joy sandals I really do like, which come in two different heel height. The latest addition to the Hermes fragrance family is Berinia, which I must admit I was quite disappointed in, and I felt it was a missed opportunity, but I'll be sure to share with you my more in-depth thoughts in an upcoming unboxing. Speaking of which, this is what we came for. These wool and mohair blend pants were part of one of the looks I had ordered from the runway show, which never got delivered. I'm not sure if it's because my order was never placed or if they just flat out rejected it. Long story short, they never arrived. So instead, we had them transferred. I was really eager to get my hands on these trousers, and there was only one available in the world in size 38 in Paris, which my boutique warned me is unlikely to be sent. But by some miracle, they were willing to have them transferred. But unfortunately, as you can see, they were too big. 38 is the smallest size that Hermes offers. In fact, it is their sample size. So I still took them, and I'll be back in the boutique next week to meet with their tailor to have them properly fitted. And speaking of pieces that are quite big, I tried on this gilet, which I actually quite liked. Although I have to say it made me look like a trucker, but I think that's possibly because I wore it with a cashmere vest, a sleeveless vest. Maybe with a turtleneck underneath it, it would have been a little bit better, but it was just too big. But I wanted to show you this gilet because if you're looking for a great layering piece for fall winter, I actually thought it was a great piece that was also really reasonably priced. It was insanely warm, and I really liked the little leather patches, which just made it feel a little bit more refined. Definitely not on me. Do not look at my styling here. Let the piece speak for itself because I thought it was a phenomenal piece to play around with. It's a classic that Hermes does every single season. They just slightly play around with the details, but this season I thought it turned out really quite well. It's not like I had anything against the cargo range from Hermes, but it just wasn't a collection that really blew me away. At least not until they came out with the cargo Birkin in size 25 in the color Gris Misty, which is the newest shade of gray for the season. It's offered in a plethora of different leathers, which are all decently nice, but nothing groundbreaking in my opinion. This color in canvas, however, is something else. I am obsessed with how expensive this color looks in Toa Woolen, which is the type of canvas used for this bag. It's almost like an opulent take on denim, and opulent it should be considering that this bag retails for over 13,000 euros. And speaking of new colors, the lovers of pink will be happy to see that Rose Darling is also on shelves now. I truly am a broken record when it comes to Chanel. Every time I stop by their store, I leave with two conclusions. Number one, their classic flap feels tired unless it's done in a unique finish, like this sequin embellished treasure chest, which gives you the classic Chanel look without coming off as tired. I think it's because these bags are less structured, considering that they only have a single flap, which makes them more squishy and kind of effortless, although there's nothing effortless about the price, which is 8,500 euros. And as we all know, Chanel sequin creations are anything but long lasting. But as we have established earlier, it is the season to sparkle. And if you'd like to do that with Chanel, here is a micro Chanel 22 bag made of a rhinestone mesh, which will set you back 20,000 euros, even though it looks like something that you got for 20 euros at Claire's. I'm honestly quite surprised that this micro Chanel bag hasn't been all over social media, or maybe it has, I just haven't seen it. But it seems to be playing into all of the latest trends. It's almost like a more elevated take on the wallet on chain, and it probably wouldn't fit more than one of those either, yet it's significantly more expensive, which I guess it's because of all the Chanel charms, the quilting, and the additional chain, or just because it is Chanel. And then another bag that I wanted to point out to you is this flap bag, which has kind of a vintagey archive vibe to it. I personally did not like this faded shade of pink, but the style I actually quite liked. Before I even say anything about these trousers, please pause the video and let me know in the comments how much you think these trousers are. Just pause me and let me know. I will wait. Okay, I cannot wait to read your guess, because the only reason I came into Chanel today was to try these trousers. I saw someone on Instagram trying them with the matching shirt and I fell in love, not realizing how sheer and delicate they are. And as I mentioned earlier, there are two conclusions I always come to after leaving Chanel. One, as I mentioned, the classic flap feels tired to me, and two, Chanel's pricing is the one thing that never fails to shock me. After consuming luxury for so many years, you would think I have a decent gauge on luxury prices, but no. When it comes to Chanel, they manage to blow my mind each and every single time, because these pants were 5,200 euros, which I'm glad I realized before they got the tailor to have them fitted, because there is no way I am spending that much money on a pair of pants, full stop, but especially not on ones that are such a particular look that makes them hard to build into my everyday wardrobe. So these Chanel pants are not coming home with me unless they go on sale, but even at 40% off, which is what they usually do when Chanel things go on sale, I don't know if I could justify the price. I love them. I think they are such a cool look. They would make an amazing festive outfit, but I would only really be able to wear them once or twice a year, if that. And also, these pants are so delicate. The waist belt is already fraying. So yeah, these pants are not going to be mine, but I really did like them. I did not realize how sheer they were. Had I known that, I would have not worn white underwear. But anyway, long story short, I do like these trousers, but I am not buying them for 5,200 euros. You can tell me there is a more organic segue into talking about this pendant. Speaking of 5 and expensive pieces, here is the so-called Eternal number 5 necklace, which is set with the most gorgeous diamonds. This pendant is 54,000 euros. And if you'd like to find out more about Chanel's fine jewelry, I do have a dedicated deep dive on not only Chanel's fine jewelry, but also high jewelry. So if you would like recommendations on what to buy when it comes to Chanel fine jewelry, or if you should even consider Chanel fine jewelry, I will make sure to have that video linked up here for you. And long story short, I do think that Chanel's fine jewelry is incredibly underrated. Admittedly, I've been on a little bit of a watch kick, and if you asked me before if I would ever consider a Chanel watch, I would have said no before you could even pull up the Chanel site. But this watch has changed my mind. It's the so-called boyfriend watch, which to me seems like a more unexpected alternative to the Cartier tank. It comes in two different sizes, in either stainless steel or solid beige gold, with or without diamonds. And I thought it was something interesting for us to ponder about. Now, when it comes to designer fine jewelry and designer watches, it's certainly not something I would suggest getting directly from the store. Instead, it is something that I would encourage you to keep your eyes out for on the pre-loved market, because some of these watches, I had a quick search online, you can find them for at least 50% off the original retail price. If I can find some good ones, I will make sure to have them linked in the info box for you. It is not a new watch. It's just not one that I ever looked at. I have to be honest, I have always turned up my nose to Chanel watches purely because of the price, and I still don't think that they are worth the money getting them directly from the store. But if you can find them for a handful of thousands of dollars, I do think that they are really beautifully designed watches, and they are classics you can not go wrong with. Sadly, the day got away from me and I did not have enough time to try everything on at Van Cleef I wanted to. So if you would like me to go back and try on some pieces, give you recommendations on what to buy and what to avoid at Van Cleef in 2024, let me know by giving this video a thumbs up, just so I know it is a video you would like to see from me. And actually, this wraps up today's vlog. I really appreciate you being here and watching. And again, if you would like me to go back to Van Cleef and have a browse together, let me know, because I will have to be back at Hermes next week to meet with the tailor anyway. So let me know what you would think about that, or if there's anything else you would like to see from me. I am looking forward to hearing from you. And in the meantime, I just appreciate you being here and watching. And I will see you back here with a new video really, really soon.